Hi, this is Zak Mir with the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Zak's Traders Cafe for Tuesday, the 8th of July. Starting off with the FTSE 100, which is doing absolutely nothing, and it's done nothing for various days. Still in that range, basically 8,800, 8,840, looking for an end-of-day close outside or above 8,840 to give us a target as high as 90.30 by the end of the month. On the downside, 50-day line 87.28 or 26 rather makes for decent support rug pull zone. RSI at 56, which is perfect for a move to the upside. So hoping that that breakout will happen sooner rather than later. Next on the list is the DAX, and here you can see that we've had the bounces above a rising 50-day line, which tends to be an indicator, leading indicator on the upside, RSI in the upper 50s, which is great. So we're looking for 25,000, hopefully as soon as the end of this month, in fact, given how near that is. And on the downside, worst at this stage, probably the June support, 23,000, but ideally no lower than 23,600, the 50-day moving average level. Moving on to the Dow, and here we've had a slight pullback, not surprising really, basically knocking on the door of record highs. The support area, 44,000, and above that, still looking for top of that. Rising trend channel heading for 47,600, and looking for that by the end of next month. Worst case, I suppose, is a test of the old June resistance of 43,100, but at the moment, hoping we can get away with 44,000 as support. Next up is Bitcoin, where it's been very, very slow and slightly frustrating. Between that resistance line there from May at 10, well, basically 110, and the 50-day line at 106. Presumably, with all the Bitcoin treasury strategy companies buying Bitcoin, we should be heading higher. RSI at 55, so above the neutral 50 level. So still looking for that breakout through 110, and that target as high as 125, possibly still by the end of this month. Gold is next, and here it's been a bit of a struggle with no fresh geopolitical disasters. We're sort of trading either side of the 50-day line and the floor of that channel there. Obviously, exactly where the channel floor is an artistic statement rather than scientific one. But at the moment, 3320 zone looks like the support for the for gold, and above that, looking for 3340, which is 3440, which is the April resistance line. Otherwise, another rug pull, such as we had at the end of last month, to 3220 could be on the cards. But looks as though we might have done the rug pulling and the consolidation for now, especially given the RSI is back above neutral 50. Moving on to the stocks, not too many at the moment, partly because it's a bit early in the day, but we've got the Agronomics chart here. Looks like a decent breakouts here, and the top of that channel there heading for around 10.7 pence. Looking for that by the end of next month or even sooner. Bezant is next, and here the shares have been flying and beating our 0.045 target totally today. In fact, next level up looks to be the upper parallel of that rising trend channel, as high as 0.75 rather, by the end of next month, and hopefully that will happen while we're above the previous target, 0.045. Very interesting that there's such a big move there on that stock. Onto a stock which never heard of, which is quite an achievement considering I try and pride myself on looking at and knowing almost every company on the market. Here we've got Celebrus, and gapped off the lows there. Follows the gap down that we had back in April. So I suppose one could say this is in theory a bear trap island reversal. Got bullish divergence as well, so lower lows for July, but higher RSI trace versus back in April. Basically, what we're looking for here is for the shares to stay above recent resistance at £1.60 above that. Looking for £2.20 at the top of that broadening triangle from back in April. Defence Holdings is next, and a good rebound off the 50-day line, rising 50-day line of 0.32. Above that, we're looking for one of our previous targets of 0.48 by the end of this month. Kodal is next. There seems to be a bit of a fight back, and here we didn't have much to go on, but we still took a risk on that anyway with the RSI 50 break. I think that was below the 50-day line. Now we're up to the 200-day line. Still looking for 0.48 and looking for it by the end of this month, especially if we get a decent end of day close above the 200-day line today, 0.37. Metals exploration is next, and the only reason is just because it's just such an incredible chart. We can see that shares going for that upper parallel red resistance line target from 2020 and looking for 18 pence by the end of this month, while we're above the 12 to 12.5 pence zone. Smarter Web is next just because it upsets people who were short of the stock at 10p or wherever it's come from. Here you can see we've got a bit of a consolidation now between the sort of the 290 and 350 zone. RSI at 57. So actually, if you just go by that, we are actually in a very good place and primed for a move to the upside. The only block, I suppose, is in the near term, or one of the blocks is that resistance line there from last week. And that's running through around £3.30. So if you're looking for a buy trigger, that would be the one. If we do break down below 290, then the floor of the channel there is at 245 for information purposes. Finishing off with one of the crypto plays that looks like it's absolutely on fire at the moment, stretching ahead of some of the competition. Here we've got Tau Alpha. I think it's going to turn into Satsuma, but despite all that David Bowie type name changing above the 7.5 pence level, we're looking for the top of the channel there up to 17 pence and looking for that hopefully by the end of this month. Nice RSI 50 rebound at turn of the month as well, which helps the situation. That's it for me today. More updates tomorrow.